Well, now that's me full of fuel. Now, unless you live under a rock somewhere, you will have heard that Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II died a couple of days ago, and we've already got a new king. Now, this isn't a big tribute video or anything, but it does have to be mentioned. I mean, I'm a patriotic Brit myself, but if the media is to be believed, there's a lot of people who are very fond of our Queen, our late Queen. I wonder if the King will be able to live up to her legacy. I guess we'll see. Anyway, there aren't too many flags around here, and now that a king has been appointed, we are no longer at half-mast, or no longer required to be at half-mast. But while all that's been happening, I've been working hard helping to keep the wheels of British industry turning. And I have done a little modification that I've been threatening for a long time to this. And if you look at my reflection in the back of that car, you might get a bit of a clue. I've gone LED on the headlamp. Not actually tested it in the dark yet. Well, I have in the yard around the back of my house, and it's considerably brighter than the original light. Now then, that is an LED headlamp unit, but not specifically for a Triumph. But it fits, it's of the correct diameter, so it fits in the original Triumph headlamp bowl and in the original rim, using the original clips that held the original one in. Now the downside is, my new bracket for my indicators, which curls forwards there, means the indicators get in the way of it, and the beam is a little high. So the next job I'm going to do is that bracket there, I'm going to flip it the other way, so the indicators will go back a little bit, but they'll still have the same spacing. That'll give me a touch more adjustment on the headlamp, downward adjustment, which is what I need, so I'm not blinding people. And then we can set the aim up and give it a test. Pretty much plug and play. The parking light needed a little bit of fettling to get that to work. Really, that was just connectors. I did have to alter them inside the headlamp bowl. No big deal. I used crimp spade connectors, which is what I've used on the whole bike if I've had to alter anything. This is one of the first times I've actually modified the any original parts of the bike, so I have modified the original Triumph wiring to accommodate that. But it doesn't look too bad when it's off. It's just when it's on it doesn't look very retro. Anyway, let's give it a bit of a test. But when it's on, it doesn't look very retro, so I'm considering maybe a mesh, a stone guard over it. I don't really know. But the price you pay for not looking very retro is, I can see where I'm going. Which has got to be an improvement over the original headlamp. Now what you have here is that one and that one are your parking light. That is dip beam. And the whole thing lit up is main beam. But I haven't tested it in anger on the road, so I'm just slipping out today to make sure that no codes are thrown up, which so far none are. And make sure I've bolted everything in correctly, nothing falls off. Although this isn't just a test ride, I've been out and got a few bits and pieces, run a few errands. So it's kind of a double excuse to get everything done. I had to switch, flip the front indicator bracket over to allow me to aim the headlamp down just a touch more, because I would have been blinding people. But that was a 10-minute job. The headlamp itself is not a Triumph specific one. It was it's of the right diameter, 7" I think it was, from eBay. Advertised as being a headlamp that can replace car, motorcycle, whatever is of that size originally. And it was pretty straightforward. It's in the original Triumph shell with the original Triumph rim. There's 3 clips if you take your headlamp off. 3 little spring clips. They came off the original headlight. They sort of attached the headlight to the rim, and they went straight onto this one. So I'm kind of doing a little journey around the block here. Not very far, it's not a very big block. Maybe a 7 or 8 mile journey. Now the only part of this bike that isn't converted to LED are my indicators and any lamps in my instrument console. Now indicators, I've said this many times before, I don't want it to look too modern, and the original Triumph indicators look sufficiently retro to work, especially now that I've tucked them in a bit more. So I'm considering keeping the original indicator units and just changing the lamps inside them for LED.
and the instrument cluster and idiot lights or warning lights. Again, just change. LED's less of a power draw. And they last longer. So the way I figure it, when I get it to where I want it, I won't have to pull it apart again during the that was an old Suzuki GT50. That's a fairly rare sight. Yeah, I won't have to pull it apart again. Probably for the life of the bike in my ownership. Where's the fun in that, I hear you say? Of course, that's not to say that I won't pull it apart again. Now, I've forgotten the person's name, but I had a comment on one of my previous videos which got me thinking, asking my opinion on a Monza style fuel cap. And I'll be honest, I've been looking into them, and I'll have a look. So that's a possible future modification. What I want to see is I'd like to see a Scrambler, Street Twin, Speed Twin, Thruxton, Bonneville. I'd like to see another Triumph Twin that's had one fitted. To finally make my mind up. I mean, I've owned bikes in the past that have got Monza style fuel caps on them. I'm not too worried about losing the facility to lock it. This bike is very, very rarely parked somewhere for any length of time with me that far away from it or unable to get to it. It lives in my garage when I'm not using it. It goes to a fair few bike meets where nobody nicks anything off anyone, let alone fuel. So even given the price of fuel, I'm not bothered about. It's an old Triumph TR4. Was that a 4? Yeah, it was a TR4. Another rare sight. Yeah, so I'm not worried about having the cap nicked or the fuel inside my tank nicked particularly. I'm just thinking about the look and whether it's going to be in keeping. I guess I need to Google a few old pictures of old 60s desert sleds and scramblers and the like. And I'm going to kind of guess that they just had their standard fuel caps on, as they did run standard fuel tanks as well, by and large. So I definitely don't want to over modify it.